The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre.
All right, it's time for our Wednesday morning Dooralong session here, where we hear stories of lives being transformed. And today our guest is Terry. Good day, Terry. How are you, mate?
Good morning. I'm doing fine.
Doing fine? Got that nice iced tea in front of you. I was just looking at that. It took me back to my childhood. I used to love Lipton's iced tea. I used to consume that thing every chance I got. So don't know where I, got off it and found coffee, but I did. So I don't know which one is good. But anyway, welcome to the show. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So where are you from, Terry?
Central Coast, around the Charm Haven area. Lake Haven. I got family that lives on the coast and that. And,
right.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sort of...
Born and raised here.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I can get visitors at Dooralong quite often, so it's really good.
Oh, that's right, because it's very, very close to the Charm Haven area.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been to Dooralong just yet. I'm told how beautiful it is, but I haven't been yet. The day we were there doing an outdoor broadcast, I was at the mall manning the stand there, so... and there were no deals on, so I wasn't happy about that, but maybe next time I'll get out there. So, how long have you been at Dooralong?
I've been there 6.5 months now, and, every day is getting a little bit brighter for me.
Excellent. Okay. So what are you currently going through?
Alcohol addiction, and drugs. I've been a drug addict and alcoholic for nearly all my life, and, been drinking probably 49 years. And Dooralong sort of gets putting me on the right path now. All
right, 49 years. That's a long time and a fairly well cemented habit. Coming back from that wouldn't be an easy road, but commendable one, noble task, and it would take some willpower.
It does. I'm doing a lot of it, all of it I'm doing for myself to better myself and that, but I'm slowly starting to get the respect back from my family and friends, and that's a major goal of mine too, because everyone if I'd say something earlier and that, they'd just think it's the alcohol talking or the drugs, and I used to say, no, I'm not doing that anymore, when I knew deep down I was, and now I'm sort of focused on life after drugs and alcohol.
So you said you've been drinking for 49 years. So what age did you first pick up that drinking habit?
When I was about 8.
8?
Yeah.
What was the introduction? How did you get introduced to that? At age 8?
My best mate, his father was an alcoholic, and he used to come home from work and just lay on the lounge and get drunk and that, and so we used to take a couple of cans here and there from him, because he never used to know how much he was drinking. And
Big and boys.
Yeah, and we'd go down the bush and have a couple, and then it just sort of took off from there.
Right, okay. So did you, all the way through school, you had that?
Yes, yeah. Drunk at school and drugged at school, and that's when I went. I used to wag school a hell of a lot, even when my last exam, some of the teachers wrote down who is Terry, because they hadn't seen me in their classes.
Right, okay. So how far did you get, school-wise?
Third year, I left when I was 14.
14. Still living at home?
Yeah, I lived at home till I was about 15, and then moved up to Weewar for a little while, and then went back to the North Shore. But ever since then, I've sort of been, I used to say moving around Australia, but I was probably running from my past. Yeah. I'm really not too sure, but like I say, now I've got a brighter future ahead of me.
Yeah. See, you said that you spent some time in Weewar. I mean, Weewar, I've been through Weewar. I mean, you run away from your past. It's like Back to the Future. Weewar. What brought you there?
Well, one of my friends, his family lived up there, and they just asked if we wanted to go up there, and I thought, it's a good occasion to get away and see what life's like away from me family. And we working in the cotton fields up there and flagging aeroplanes and doing a bit of crop dusting and that. It was, most enlightening.
Was it an attempt to actually curb the habit and maybe kick it a little bit, or that wasn't a concern? You just on the move?
Oh, well, probably magnified my drinking problem and drugs, because I was earning a lot better money up there than what I was where I previously were. And we used to work a lot of hours a day up there with the aeroplanes and that flagging.
Yeah.
And we'd buy a carton and then go and hide behind the pool and drink it, because our bosses and that we'd be working sometimes 18 hours a day, and it was just our way to escape. So we'd buy a carton and just go and hide and have a few hours off before we had to go back to work again.
I'd imagine even when you didn't have a lot of work up there, the downtime in Weewall, there's not a lot to do.
No, well, there's not really. Very little at all. I think that's why the alcohol and drugs sort of took over my life as well.
Perfect environment for it to take hold.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so at that stage, you were, 15, 16, you were working. The alcohol had taken its root at 8. So where and when did the drugs make its appearance?
When I was about 12, I started. I tried marijuana. By the time I was 14, I was buying sheets of trips. Back in them days, I was getting 100 trips for $200, and I was doubling my money selling them. But the thing was that I'd always be broke because I'd spend it on alcohol or whatever else, and plus I was using a lot of the LSD myself, and so it wasn't real good for me brain. And
no. So, in all that, at that age, working, drinking the drugs, had you run afoul of the law yet? DUIs, drunk and disorderly, had you anything at all, or you just been fortunate not to actually fall into that lane yet?
No, like I was saying earlier, I did 3 months jail for drink driving, but until the last time I've actually been blown in the bag, and I've been cleared for the last couple of times, but before that I'd probably been done probably about 8 times for drink driving in various states and that, and it was in New South Wales that I finally did time in jail because of it.
Right, okay. Well, let's cut to a song and we'll come back and let's pick up that story at that another day here on 94.9 Raymond Central Coast. We're back with Terry. Thank you and welcome to the Dooralong Stories. We're just diving knee deep into Terry's story here. 49 years of alcohol and drug abuse. Started at the age of 8. Fast forward, you're 15, 16, 17, living in Weewall, tiny town of Weewall. What population of 2? I'm not sure. It's really tiny. And you mentioned before we left on the break 8 DUIs, and you spent 3 months in jail. What landed you in jail? What was the sentence there? Sentence, but what was the?
I was coming from South Australia back to Sydney, and I stopped in at Broken Hill. That was my plan anyway. I was going to stop there and sleep there the night, but I fell asleep at the wheel, and my car got airborne, and I ended up in the side of another panel van in the middle of the main street up there, and thinking that I could get away with it, I went to the travel agency the next morning and I bought a ticket for a bus out of town. Next thing I know, the lady had rung up the local police and said that I was trying to get out of town, so they came, and I got done for that, and that led me to 3 months in Goulburn jail.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 months in jail. The opportunity to get clean and straight is ripe. It's there. Did that happen? Because I know sometimes you can get your hands on anything in jail, really. But did you manage to get somewhat clean and sober while you were there?
Yes, I was only in Goulburn for about 3 or 4 weeks, and then I got taken to Manus Prison Farm near Tumbarumba. and I was clean there. But the first day I got out, I just went and bought myself a bottle of scotch and got a train on a train heading back to Adelaide.
Right. So what was in Adelaide?
My missus and my soon-to-be son.
Okay. All right. I was talking to a fellow probably about two or 3 months back, and he was saying that he had entered Dooralong for the first time and done so well that when he got out, the first instinct was to celebrate, and he went and got a drink. And he said it just was, it wasn't intentional. It was just okay. I've got to celebrate. Had a drink, and then boom, straight down the wagon again. He's like, what have I just done? So I just find that interesting. So you get out. First thing you do is you grab a bottle with you, head for a train back to Adelaide. So okay, so life back in Adelaide. Was there a conscious effort to actually stay sober, or it wasn't a thought? I'm out, I'm going to pick up where I left off?
Yeah, it wasn't a thought at all. I just drunk constantly. It destroyed, well, we were never married, but it destroyed my de facto relationship. I've got 2 beautiful boys that are doing very well. They've had the same job since they've left school. One's in Queensland and one's in South Australia. But I had a hothouse in the backyard, and I used to grow pot, and just from the money that I got off that, I'd put towards the house, and I was doing a bit of abalone poaching as well at the time, and so money was pretty easy for me to come by. But yeah, that's the alcohol spoiled my life there. My missus finally woke up to herself and asked me to leave, so yeah, that happened. And
you were a very high-functioning alcoholic because you've never been short of work. So you've never been lazy, but you've always had good jobs, hard-working jobs, but good jobs that pay money, good money, which, did kind of harm you in a bit because you had ample money to actually go out and support your habit. I find it interesting that you just didn't have a drink and get laid off from jobs and lose jobs. You always seem to land into a good paying job as an alcoholic.
Yeah, well, I think it was more of a need to work to support my habits, and that at the time you don't sort of think that you're working just for your habits, but yeah, when I look back on it, I think a lot of the times I did work, it was only so I could buy an ounce, or it just alcohol, and yeah, but alcohol has always been my first choice of drugs.
So okay, so you said your missus woke up to yourself and asked you to leave. Where'd you go? Did you stay in Adelaide, or did you run again?
Yeah, I ran again. I come back to New South Wales and up on the Central Coast here, and
so I had family here.
Yeah, I got sisters, and they've always taken me in, and that like I said earlier, I'm slowly getting respect back from them. But the last time that I drunk, my sister said she's just had enough of it. She can't do it any longer because she'd be in tears and that, and I'd abuse the situation, whereas I should have been clean and sober, but I used to say to them that I hadn't had a drink, and that even though I know that I'd had one probably half an hour before I was talking to them. So with the alcohol came the lies and deceit, and
Okay. So at that point, what drugs were you using?
Speed, mainly marijuana. I've tried ice a couple of times. I didn't like it, so I haven't had that. But I haven't had any speed or ice for probably 8-10 years. Pot, I had some last year, but I haven't. Like I say, that's not my choice. So I'd prefer to just drink, but I'm slowly getting over that as well now.
Okay. So you're estranged from the family. Mrs. asked you to leave. So at that point, you had both boys were born and with mom, so you had to leave. You come back home. Sisters, that's broken down. They've got to their end. So you're at the stage. How old are you, and what do you do next?
When I first come back, I think I was about 35, 36. Then I got a wagon, had me bed in the back and that, and I've just travelled around, and being by myself all the time, it was just easier to drink than sort of not drink, and I'd just cruise to places where I could spend a few weeks and then move on to somewhere else. And yeah, I suppose a lot of people think that I'm on a holiday, but I think I was actually just running from my past.
Okay. So where did rock bottom hit?
Probably about 5 years ago. Might have been a little bit earlier than that when I ended up in hospital. I gave up alcohol for 2.5, 3 years, and I thought, I've got this beat. And then one Christmas time I was there by myself, and I thought, I'll just have one drink. And that drink, the wheels started turning again, and I just couldn't stop.
What was the motivation to try to stop? At that stage?
To keep myself out of jail, to not upset me family or family members and friends, and
So you were starting to see the effect it had on them, and how
I was throwing my life away, and they were doing everything in their power to help me, and I just abused the situation.
Okay. So you were telling me that you ended up going for a walk and ended up flat on your face.
Yeah.
Just recant that story, because that was very interesting.
Well, I was pulled up at my sister's place one afternoon, and I had that many bottles of alcohol empty in the back of my car, and I thought I'll just remove all them. So I put them all into a 5-gallon bucket, and I went to sort of lean forward, and I ended up going actually backwards and fell down, and I couldn't get up again. I was sober at the time, but I just had no strength in my arms or legs and that, and it took me about 3 months to learn how to walk and use my arms and that again, and I was in a pretty bad way. Even the doctors said, and I would have been in a coma another few days, and so that was the big part where I'd stopped for a couple of years. But like the drug it is, the alcohol, it just took over again.
Right. So your body was to the point where it was shutting down.
Yeah, I was shut down, all right.
And had you not fallen over and not been able to get up, who knows where you'd have been, how long you'd have been on this earth. So you're in rehab, you're relearning, your functions all over again, and then yet the urge to pick up that bottle still came calling.
Yes, I've had my stomach drained a few times. I've had nearly 10 litres of fluid taken from my stomach on numerous occasions. I think I've had it done 3 times now. Just the urge to drink, I don't know, it's a horrible drug. It is a horrible drug.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to a song then. Let's come back and let's find out what it takes to make you give it all up and to seek a better life. Anyway, we're back with Terry. When we left off, you had injured hospital. You had a fall. Your body was shutting down. You were found outside on the street by your brother-in-law, who picked you up, took you to the hospital, where you spent 3 months in rehab, regaining the mobility of your legs and arms. Doctor told you, few more days, you might have been in a coma. Your body was just ready to give up. But yet, 3 years clean, 2 or 3 years clean, you still had that draw and that yearn for that addiction, and you picked it right back up after all that, which shows you how addictive it is. I know a lot of people think that don't look at alcohol as a drug, but it is. And I know people out there thinking, it's not. Everybody's different. You don't know how alcohol is going to affect one guy or the other. One guy might drink it and be a lifelong social drinker. The next guy might take one sip and he's a hopeless alcoholic down, for the rest of his life. Some people just abuse it, and that's how they end up there. Either way you look at it, I think it's a subtle killer. It is a drug, and it's something that should be, really, in my eyes, shunned, as far as I'm concerned. It's a killer. You came back from it, and you still picked up that bottle. And at what age were you at that point? What were you?
About 50, I think.
50. Okay, so tell me, after all you've been through, after all we've discussed, and we've just skimmed over a lot of it. I'm pretty sure there are tons of stuff. What does it take for you to enter rehab and say, okay, enough's enough? How do you get to that stage, and what's the motivation? When did it happen? Tell me.
I think it was because I was upsetting my sisters and that, and they just really pressed for me to enter a rehab. There was a couple of places that were put on a list for me, and I ended up ringing up Dooralong, and I kept ringing them every week for about 2-3 months, and eventually they, I think they got sick of me ringing, and they took me in, and I haven't looked back.
How far back was that? 6 months?
6.5 months ago, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I haven't, like I said, I've even given up cigarettes now, and but alcohol and drugs, Dooralong's brought me back from the brink. I do believe I would probably be dead now if I wasn't in the transformation centre.
Man, I have to tip my hat off to you. It's 49 years of drinking, and you just you've been in and out on the brink of death, rehab, lost all mobility, estranged from your wife, your 2 boys, Queensland and South Australia. Your sister's here, and you've alienated all of them. Most people at that point would just throw in the towel and give up. My life's my life, it's what it is. But not you. Like, no, I want to make this right. I want to be a part of my family again, and this is what I got to do. So, I do tip my hat off to you. But I have to ask you, and be honest, it's got to be a tough road for you. It's can't be easy after that long of time.
It's hasn't been easy. Nothing that is worthwhile ever comes easy, so they say. But I've always been in contact with my boys and that, not as much as I should do, I think, because the alcohol overran everything that I was actually doing in my life. But I've let them know that I'm actually in the transformation centre and that, and they're really pleased that I am, because I think when I split up with my missus and that, I was probably doing them a favour in one sense, because who wants to be around a drunken old person?
Yes, no stability in the home.
Well, that's right. Yeah. And when I look back on it, I think it was probably for the best, because I was just I was hopeless. I was lost.
It's got to be peace of mind for them, knowing that they know where you are, and they know you're safe, and that at the same time you're also getting help and getting better. I mean, really, the relief on them must be something. But is it the love for your boys that's spurring you on every day?
It's a love for everyone in my family. I've always been family orientated. I don't think, like I say to a lot of people, I've never really had an argument with my sisters and that. The only thing that we've argued about is alcohol and drugs. But my sisters have looked after me ever since I was a young boy. My mother left when I was 5, and my sisters took over the role of mother for me. So, and I've always looked up to them, and I was sick of breaking their hearts, to be honest.
Yeah, you're saying off air that you know yourself. If you were released tomorrow, you'd be drinking again tomorrow.
That's exactly right. I'm pretty sure I can't be trusted as yet, so I've still got a ways to go.
And see, I have to tip my hat to that too. That's incredible that you know yourself well enough to know, like, if I was released tomorrow, I'm going to do this. So don't let me out. I need help. I really want to do this. So it's good to hear you say that, because it says something about you, the man, that you want to actually make this one work this time around.
Well, I'm running out of time. Like, not age-wise. I think I've still got a few years left on there.
You got about, what, you're 53 now? You got about 67 left.
57 now.
50, you got 63 left.
I just want to enjoy what life I have got left, and enjoy it with family and friends, and just take one day at a time. And
that's what you do. You take one day at a time until you're ready to step out into this worldwide, thing. Because I don't know where the world's going at the moment, but we have to be prepared for it. But we all have a job to do. We all have a role to fulfill, and we all have a calling. And I believe, Jerry, you have one too. And when you're ready to leave Dooralong, I'm pretty sure you'll step into that. I do believe you'll make it this time. I think you're ready. I think you really want this. I think you want to reconnect with your family, and I'm glad that's a motivating factor. And it's how awesome is it that the center that you're in is right here in your own hometown. So it's that's brilliant. They can at least come and see you, and you're only a phone call away, and it's got to be encouraging and an extra motivational factor.
Well, it is, yes. Being so close to my family, and that is good, because I do get visitation from them and that, and I try to ring them every chance I get, but it's not always possible. But reconnecting and making the most of what I've got available for myself at Dooralong, it's a great motivation. It really is.
Yeah, excellent. Look, my guest this morning has been Terry. Thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate that. It's not always easy recounting, but it's you don't know who's listening that's going through the same thing you are. And I can tell you right now, you're encouraging a lot of people out there who were rethinking where they are and the situations they're in, thinking, hey, look, I need to do something too. So appreciate you sharing.
Thank you very much for letting me share. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. But we want to see you again before you go. You need to come back in here and give us another progress report on where you're at, man.
I'll certainly do that.
Your
for sure.
story is very fascinating. So,
thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. 94.9 Rima Central Coast. Hope you enjoyed that segment. I guess it's been Terry this morning. Fascinating story there. And look, God can do anything, and He is. He is.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 Rima.cc.